Here we go. This is episode 6, with a little help from your friends, getting some guidance. What's up? Welcome to Be Happy I Didn't Kill You, Confessions of a Recovering Angry Girl. Sam here, your host with the most spiritual guides?
Love it.
Last week we discussed healing your body and soul. Today's topic is getting guidance from the cards and beyond. And here to discuss with us is Elizabeth Whitacre. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
And thank you for coming on.
Yes.
And we have Liz here from we're going to do the shout out too for dividends. I was practicing this so many times and I knew I was going to mess it up.
So we got Divination Station, because I like rhyming.
And check them out on Facebook. And then are you located in Rising Goddess?
Yes, I do all of my readings and all of my sessions, my life coaching out of Rising Goddess.
Okay. So check out Rising Goddess, and it should be on Facebook and
Facebook,
Instagram.
TikTok. We also have a website, risinggoddessny.com.
Nice. All right, so how did you start? What got you into this?
So my favorite intro to this is it was the 90s and I was a teenage girl and The Craft came out. So that is probably my first step to that. But to be honest, we're going to go back about 10 years from that. And we're going to look at the first movie that I ever watched was Salem's Lot. I was 5. Then I really got into Wizard of Oz. I was really into any books that had that secret land, that magic. And I created a witch's grave in my backyard when I was probably 5. So the creepy kid part was definitely there from the get-go.
Yeah. I feel like that comes early for us too.
Oh yeah. And my mom was a big Stephen King fan and a big horror fan. So we always kind of had those around there. It's kind of what's wrong with you? I read Stephen King when I was 9. That's probably what's wrong with me.
Yeah. I feel like the growing up, the what's wrong with you, we should have got instead wow, you're really well read.
Exactly.
Where was that?
And as I'm rereading Stephen King right now, I realize that a lot of my vocabulary, my speech patterns, my kind of narrative storytelling came from reading Stephen King at a really early age.
It planted the seed.
Really did. And then as I got into my teenage years, and of course I lived in the middle of nowhere. Now this was before the internet, so I had to travel for anything. So, I made a lot of trips to Buffalo to go to the old record stores, the video stores, got a lot of weird horror from Mondo Video, records from Home of the Hits, and also got into the kind of darker, gothier side around that same time as well. And again, The Craft came out, and of course, every, 16-year-old maladjusted, misanthropic teen girl had to get into tarot. So I did. And I remember going to probably Walden Books or one of those bookstores that hasn't existed in 15 years.
Sad.
Right here. And I remember getting Buckland's Big Blue Book of Witchcraft, which is still in print today. Definitely found that overwhelming because it's very much Wiccan based and ritualistic, and it didn't resonate. But I did look at the divination part, and that resonated with me. So I got my Tarot of the Cat People, and I carried it around in my backpack with me wherever I went, and I would trek up Park Street to the Arcade Rural Cemetery, and I would, hang out in my favorite spots. I'd pull cards. I'd start to learn the cards. I'd journal about them, and I'd do readings for my friends. So that's pretty much where it started.
You know what's so funny? I don't ever remember getting a reading or anything from you, which maybe to a little backtrack here.
Right.
Liz and I actually were roommates. So we met through the punk scene.
Yes.
Because going to concerts and stuff.
And I always had my decks on me, but it wasn't anything I brought out a lot. Like it was almost like that side wasn't really, like I didn't really talk about it too much, because I do remember giving a reading to another roommate's sister. It was like the first round of Tyler Street. And I still have that deck here. And
nice.
I know, this is not a visual medium, but I am pointing at the tarot deck that I read with now, and I had that deck at Tyler Street. So I've had this forever. But it just did not come out as much.
Like I'm thinking I do remember seeing in your room.
Yeah.
But then I don't think it ever came up, because we were just music, like mainly talking music or horror,
Yeah. So it was always there. It just didn't really come to focus for me until later.
Yeah. And some people, you're not sure. You don't want to totally blame out to everybody, I remember back then getting picked on really bad for loving Scooby-Doo.
Yes, you never know what that one thing that you like is gonna really set
Teens, early 20s is brutal, man. Like we discussed in episode 3, you never know.
Yes.
So, what kind of services do you offer?
So right now I do tarot readings. I do life coaching. Usually I do minimum of 3 sessions for that. I really like the laser coaching, where it's like I'm meeting someone and they're really trying to get over a very specific thing. So that's kind of been my focus. I do tarot classes. Every month at the shop I do a tarot class.
I'm curious about the discussion groups.
Oh yeah. So
I saw that on your calendar. I was like,
So we also do community events, and these are open and free of charge. So we do a divination discussion group. I facilitate that every month, and it's really come in, hang out. Sometimes it's a deck show and tell. Everybody, people will bring their new decks. New people come in, they want to know what it's all about. So I always have a topic in my pocket, but it really goes where it goes.
Yeah.
I think the last time I had a new deck, it was more like ancestor healing related, and I just got it, and I have this terrible habit of backing decks on Kickstarter and then never really opening them. So I decided that I was going to bring it and pull cards for everybody. So I did. And it was really fun. We got to, talk a lot about our kind of family history, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that. And again, sometimes it'll be talking about different kinds of divination, whether it's dowsing rods, tarot, oracle, different kinds of cartomancy.
Oh, I was going to ask you about the oracle and pentacle. And...
Yep. So we have, actually in the shop, we have decks and we have things for people to use. So people, you can come in, grab a cup of tea, sit down, grab a deck, and hang out with it for a bit. So the oracle, tarot, I'll just do a 2-sentence breakdown of different systems. So tarot is a system, generally 78 cards, and it is meant for self-reflection. That's how I use it. Most of my tarot readings end up being life coaching sessions anyway. Not so much the psychic medium reader where, I just sit and talk at someone and all of that.
Yeah.
So I use the tarot as a tool for self-reflection. And again, that tarot deck is a very specific system. Every tarot deck is going to be set up the same way, even if it looks very, very different. The meanings are, Queen of Cups is going to be very similar meaning in every deck, even if it looks different. Oracle cards are a little bit different. They are based on what the artist wants to do. There's no real set system. They're generally numbered.
It doesn't follow, it wouldn't be a cup of hearts. It could be something totally different.
Exactly. So it's usually, if they are numbered, it's just 1 through however many there are. And that's just to make it easier when looking them up in the book that the artist wrote. And these can be, I mean, you have like,
So you have the book companion.
Yes. So with the Oracle deck, you have the book companion because, again, it is based on what the artist is getting across and what their messages are based on. You have, very fluffy bunny, very positive angel oracles that like every card is like your guardians are with you. Take that next step. The universe has your back. Very fluffy bunny, more affirmation messages, which are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But then you have like vampire oracles. You have plant oracles, animal oracles. You have oracles for literally
anything you can think of.
At this point, literally anything that you can think of.
I think that's kind of a cool aspect of the internet, too, that everyone's allowed to be creative. So many people are like, oh, I had this awesome aspect of this, so here you go. And you can get a crowd fund for your thing, too. Yes. So then you can be like, hey, other people that might enjoy this can support me, and then I can put it out. So, like,
absolutely.
It's kind of like a ton of stuff being flooded into the system, yet at the same time, you're seeing things you've never seen before.
Yes, which is why I buy them all.
I mean, we all have that thing that we like to buy that brings us happiness.
So those two are pretty much kind of the most popular. What if you see a reader at a psychic fair or what have you. Pendulums are really good for yes/no questions. So when I use mine, and I think this one gets the most like holy shits because you're just holding it and you're not. So you don't move it consciously, but it is moved by micro movements. So it's moved by very like you cannot perceive them, you can't feel them, you can't see them.
You think you're holding still.
But our muscles are always moving. So when I'm holding the pendulum, actually. And again, I know this is super effective in an audio. So as I'm holding the pendulum and I say, show me yes, and it starts to go in a circle, and the person across from me, like, I'm not moving. And then I'll say, show me no, and the pendulum does a completely different direction. So I will say that is one of the methods that kind of gets people like the most because it's visual.
Yeah. Especially since like they're holding it.
Yeah.
So all the control basically is in their hands.
Yep. There's
literally.
There's also kind of in the same aspect. There's dowsing rods. Those have been used forever. They're like the 2 rods that are at the right angle and they swing in your hands. You also have different card decks that are coming again with the internet. They're kind of coming into more popularity. So that's like a Lenormand deck, a Petit Atelier deck, Kipper decks. Those were more popular in like Germanic, Eastern Europe, and more specifically for cartomancy, while tarot was started as an actual card game. So those are kind of the basic. But then you have charm casting, you have runes, you have, oh my gosh.
Spell bags.
Spell bags, there's so many. Oh my gosh.
Tea leaves,
geomancy. You can read with lithomancy, palm reading. There's a lot. I am by no means well versed in all of them, but
if you stop in the store, then you'd be able to see a lot of those things.
Yes, and we do have a palm reader, and we do actually have a tea leaf reader now, too. So
nice.
That's cool.
So many options. Which society's view on it, for the most part, would keep you away from the store and asking all these questions.
Yes. It's the, like, what society thinks we do, what our family thinks we do, and what we actually do. It's like one of those memes. Like,
yeah. Definitely. And it's something like, I feel like the more we talk about it and stuff and have these conversations and everything, the more like people are going to be open to it and kind of analyze it. And like you said, there's also those types of decks from other places. I forgot what you mentioned.
The Oracle decks, the Tarot decks, there's the Kickstarter decks. So there's different theme decks too that I'll read with.
But some of those originated in other countries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this has been around prior to,
Oh, yeah.
just the U.S.
Yes. But, I do like what you said about the internet, because I think that does, it's kind of that double-edged sword with like everything with the internet.
Literally everything.
So it's opened tarot up to a wider audience that understands what it can be. It's not necessarily just fortune telling. We're not pulling, I don't have a deck of the devil cards, oops, all towers, so it's not, it's kind of breaking down some of the stigma that's been attached. So that's, it's opening up conversations. People are more comfortable about talking about it. It's removing some of that gatekeepy aspect that was there in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because if I wanted to learn from someone, it would have been very difficult. So there was a lot of self-taught aspects to how I got started reading. And then when I, did move up, to the city and I had more availability, when it was time, divine timing, right? I started going to shops and studying under different people, and I would go to classes with almost anybody because everybody teaches it a bit differently, and just really soaking in their viewpoints to kind of analyze everything and kind of make my own version and my own like teaching style.
I like how you were saying that too, because no matter what the subject is, different people teach it different ways.
Oh my gosh,
and
yes.
like there's so many things you could just take multiple classes for. Last week I spoke with Chelsea, and she said for her Reiki she did the same thing. She went to a bunch of different classes and met different people from different classes, and you pick up, it's all kind of the same, but it can be totally different too.
Different people will focus on different aspects. I have studied the cards, and I also read intuitively. I know people that just literally will read the card and not so much bring in the, if you want to say like the psychic or the intuitive aspect, they'll just kind of read the card. And some people just use their intuition.
Yeah. I feel like psychics are one of those trigger words in our society.
Yes, that's, the word psychic is still, it's still a trigger word because again, if you remember the 90s, we had Miss Cleo,
Did you watch the documentary on her? Oh my God, it was so sad.
It's so sad.
I like cried so bad. I was like, oh my God, I feel so bad for this woman.
Yes. And that was another, that was another viewpoint that people had from it before. And it was
beautiful to hear her friends say that she did have this talent. And she was a creative, beautiful person that could see more than other people could, Yeah. But she kind of
fell into some
acting a bit. But it was really sad.
It was, it is really sad. But with the internet too, you kind of have people that will, kind of pick up on whatever the next best cool thing is. And, you have the Instagram, you have like the Witch Talk, where people will get on there and do readings, and they're always, they'll cater to like the love readings because that's one of the top 3. It's probably number 1, followed by, career. And they do kind of take advantage of people, and that's kind of the other side of that.
Yes.
The good side is the wealth of information, breaking down the stigma, and really finding community, and just knowing that there are other people out there to talk to about it. But then the other hand is you do get people that are going to take advantage of people, and they just happen to land on this.
Yeah. And it's hard to know, And I'd say just go with your vibe. Just go with how you feel.
And watch.
If you're not feeling comfortable, even maybe that person, is like legit. Say, I'm quoting. There's not really a... But, I mean, go with who you feel comfortable with.
And if there's, I always tell people, like, well, are they real? I'm like, watch them for a while. Watch how they interact. Watch how they interact in the comments. Watch... what they're trying to do. Are they trying to sell you something? Are they trying to tell you that you have a negative attachment and the only way to get rid of it is to pay $400?
Watch out for those red flags.
Watch out for those red flags.
The ones everybody ignore in relationships. That's why relationships the biggest question.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, not sorry. I've been there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have.
We all have. Several times. It's fine.
And would you say your family's pretty supportive?
Oh, yeah. My family's pretty supportive, even if they don't necessarily understand it. Again, I don't think there was a tarot deck at my house, but I know there was like a tarot book.
Especially if your mom reads.
Well,
yeah.
And they were always supportive of me being a little creepy weirdo. It has come out that, there have been, there were things that I would say or whatever, and my mom's like, oh boy.
All our moms have said that.
Oh, yeah. So pretty supportive. My dad tends to be a little more on the, I don't know, religious side. I don't know. So occasionally he'll be like, isn't that the work of the devil? And I just say, yep, and just move on.
But yet again, that was something that society was fed.
Yes. It's the whole satanic panic thing, which I'll go down rabbit holes with that for quite a while. So my family's pretty supportive. Before my grandma passed, she actually had me do a reading for her. I thought that was adorable. I wish I had recorded it, but but I think I did take a picture. Yeah. So, people ask me, how's it going? How's the shop going? My partner's family, they're really supportive of it, and his family is definitely more like Catholic, not like a conservative way, but definitely more in they go to church every week. They do all of that, and they're very supportive. And there'll be times where I go over there for dinner on the weekends, and I'm dressed in what I wore for the fast, and so I'm like, oh, do you have a show today? And they'll ask me how it went, and so they're really supportive. He's very supportive, even if he's not super understanding or into it. But yeah, if I'm at an event and it's local, he'll bring me a seltzer and a Pop-Tart.
Oh, that's nice. Speaking of, what upcoming events do you have?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this weekend, I'm actually going to be in Erie for the Love, Light, and Healing Fest. So that is April 26th, I believe. So I will be reading there the 27th. So I'll be reading there pretty much all day.
Every time I go to Erie, I have to go to the Golden Corral and stuff my face.
Yes. I always stop at Sheets. Gotta stop at Sheets. In May.
Oh, Peach Street.
Oh my gosh, right?
I love Peach Street.
I still watch for people wearing Jinkos in Erie, because in my mind, that's still where they are. They were there in 2004. There's no reason why
they would be gone.
Why they would be gone. I have a couple events in May. So the Wandering Souls Collective show at Buffalo Ironworks.
I will be there also.
Perfect. Are you vending?
Yep.
Yes.
Just the first day.
Okay,
Just
me
Saturday.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Sunday I'll be at Rift City at a more like health and wellness event. So nice. I like to do the health and wellness events as well as like the psychic fairs. So I don't like to pigeonhole myself in one specific like area. Mostly because, and like I'll be reading at the Oddities Fest in August.
Nice.
And then of course at the shop at Rising Goddess, we do divination discussion every month. We're doing tarot classes every month.
There's a nice calendar available on Facebook too. So everybody check that out.
Yes. But yeah, you can, if you're in the Erie area, you can find me and I'm reading at UB. If you go to UB,
nice.
I'll be there on Monday, May 6th. So very exciting.
Awesome. That's going to be super fun.
Yes. And I also do...
And that's perfect. This is coming out May 6th.
Oh, wonderful.
So listen to this and then go.
Yes. So come see me in May. I will probably put out a calendar of my events as well, because they tend to stack up from about May to October.
Oh, yeah. It is con season and event season.
Oh,
I was going to say just con, so not all just conventions. There's smaller ones, too.
I do also do, like, tarot parties. I've done bachelorette parties. I've done graduation parties. I've done surprise birthday parties, huge New Year's Eve events.
Nice.
So I love reading. Oh, and I read at the Mary Shelley a couple days. Yep, a couple days a month. Always check their events for that. There's no set day, but I am there.
Yeah, they have quite a few really interesting events there. So definitely check out.
Cool to come in and hang out and
I mean, it's a horror-themed bar in Buffalo, like...
Right? They get some absinthe, or they have a ton of non-alcoholic options, which I love as well.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah, I always get the phony Negroni.
And what's that?
It's a Negroni without the alcohol. It's just it's a little bitter. It's a little fruity. It's delicious. But yeah, come see me somewhere in May. I'll be out in the wild, as I call it, several times.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it, out in the wild.
Because usually, like during the winter and everything, I'm in the shop, so I get to go in the wild when the weather's nice.
The kitties are cuddling right now. I know no one can see this, but it's super adorable.
They're worried.
Spooning.
Yeah, I was worried that my cat would scream. So we're lucky.
They're in spoon mode, so it's all good. Have you feel that this has had like a positive impact on your life and health?
Oh my gosh, yes. So when I started, I went through life coach certification, and my vision at the time was I was going to focus on that, and it really helped me. So going through the life coach training really helped me see some of my negative and toxic patterns. And I was able to see that and kind of really, let go of what doesn't serve me, to use the...
Check yourself.
Yes. I was really able to kind of take some of that teaching and really put it into play. Really, again, got rid of some things that, were holding me back. I had an office where I was doing readings. I did mediumship training. And most people wanted mediumship and tarot. And so I kind of combined the two. And even when I was doing life coaching or doing tarot reading, they kind of blended together. And I did have an office where I did all of my events and my readings. But again, that was about COVID time. So, we all had to pivot.
Oh, man.
So I did have to let my office go. And that's when I found Rising Goddess. And she was, Tina, the owner, was just kind of like, well, we have a reading room here. You can use myspace.com. And and I just kind of started hanging out there, and never stopped. And that brings us to here.
I mean, that says really good for that place,
Yes.
You started hanging out there and never stopped. Like,
so
good selling point.
It really has helped me, again, not only see some of the things that I was doing to perpetuate negativity, but also the life coaching allowed me to live in a way to model that for others. So I didn't have to kind of come at someone and say, hey, this is unhealthy what you're doing, this, and this, and here's how to change it.
Yeah.
I was able to learn how to kind of see it and bring it up in very gentle ways.
Yeah.
And that has definitely helped in my like relationship sphere, whether it's, a partnership, romantic partnership, or friends, or business partnership, or what have you. It's really allowed me to be more of myself in a kinder way. Instead of the, you're...
Instead of an angry girl?
Yes. Yes, I've learned a lot.
We're all recovering angry girls.
Yes. So my first method of coping is no longer mosh it out. I still recommend it if needed.
Yeah. You were great at it. Like, you definitely owned it. You were like, yeah, I'm getting that pit.
Like, yes.
Move out of the fucking way.
Move out of the fucking way. Yeah.
Some aggression get out.
Yeah. So I have learned to say, hey, let's look at this and think about this, instead of saying, that was the most asinine thing I have heard out of anyone's mouth. Do it better. So I have rounded some of my edges. But at the heart and the root, the attitude is still there.
Yeah.
But it has helped my, mental health in that way. Physical health, I am still a kind of person where, I'm a type A nut job. I have a very Aries, very fire heavy chart. If anybody understands astrology, you'll know what that means. Cat does. He agrees. I am very much, I will do all of the things all of the time. Mm-hmm. And I do not necessarily understand my own body and mind's cues to settle down.
Yeah.
I am learning to practice the physical pause and to rest.
Yeah.
So that's always a lesson, always a ongoing lesson for me to learn that that it is okay to just sit down and just relax. Actually, my cats do help me with that because, naps. Yeah. They want naps. So
see, I go at like 100 or nothing.
Yes.
I would the couch is so comfy and it just wants to hug you and
yes.
It's kind of tempting you
if
all
I
the time,
sit down for more than 10 minutes, there's a good chance I will nap.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning that, but it is I am better than I used to be.
Yeah. A hard thing for me has always been I've always had to do everything on my own. So I'm still in that mindset of doing everything on my own. And I need to realize that there's other people around me. And I could use help and whatnot too. Especially I've been with Travis for 19 years. And can you imagine being with someone 19 years and them always doing all this stuff but not
right.
talking to you about it or being aware of how it may affect you. So I've had to check myself in that and be yeah.
Yeah.
Not only do I need to ask help, I also need to let everyone aware of what I'm doing.
Yes. Because the things that people see me doing, there's always, that dozen in the back that, and my partner now, it's been about 5 years, but he is really, really great at coming over and helping me, when I don't necessarily know that I need it. Like, he'll help me out with things.
It's good. He's good at reading that.
He really is. Yeah. And he knows when I'm being when my energy is kind of ratcheting up and I'm getting very anxious. He's really good at kind of helping me regulate. So that's been really nice.
Yeah.
So
that's so important.
Yeah.
But we don't get rule books on relationships or anything.
Do not.
And everything varies for everybody other than the fact that you should be respectful.
Yes.
A few things,
Yes.
There are a few basic things that
things.
everybody should kind of follow.
But yeah, so he kind of helps me regulate with that. And I live alone here. I grew up pretty much as an only child, and I was very hyper independent from a young age, and I definitely understand, you just kind of get in that do it all yourself mode. I think with the shop, I have learned so much about delegating and trust. And that's really helped me, allowing people to get things off my plate.
I think a lot of it comes down to that trust aspect, especially for me, I had such a hard time trusting because I just had so many bad experiences after bad experience, but that doesn't mean that you should totally give up on trusting people. Yeah. But sometimes we're not even aware to the fact that we've given up on trusting people.
Yeah.
Till you get a life coach.
Until you get a life coach. So have you ever thought about, when I say so, have you ever thought about whatever follows is me very gently life coaching, and I'm asking for a bit of consent to go forward after I say that. So if anybody ever hears me say that, that's my gentle intro.
That is very, very gentle. It's a good way to ease into it. So I'm totally going to put you on the spot here and make you pull some cards.
Absolutely.
I know you want to.
All right, so
So she's going to be using her words.
I'm going to be using my
describe
words
this
to describe. So right now, how I always start readings is I do shuffle. And I'm shuffling my deck right now. It is a classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's the one that everybody recognizes. It's the one that's almost always used in TV shows, movies, things like that. So I just shuffle until I stop. You know, people are like, oh, how do you know? I'm like, I just stop. You know? Not everything is like mystical, magical, woo-woo. The spirits tell me to. It's just whenever I do.
When you feel.
When I
it's
feel.
time.
Yeah. So we were just talking about relationships and getting to the point of trust and communication and delegation. And I pulled the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups, it represents water, which represents emotions. Twos are partnerships working together. So in the picture, we have two figures looking at each other. One is wearing white and blue. One is wearing yellow with a bit of orange. They are both holding cups out to each other. So it almost looks like a marriage situation or a hand fasting situation, anything like that, like that positioning. Binding, yes.
That, yeah.
Yep. And then you have above it, there is a winged lion's face said to be possibly the Archangel Raphael. There's no set
each interpretation.
Yes. And then it has the two snakes intertwined, the caduceus, for healing. So the card does indicate, again, a really good partnership, complementing each other. So it is a really good card. It's a really good kind of indication that a relationship is on a good path. Doesn't necessarily have to be romantic relationships. It can be
relationships come in all kinds.
Exactly.
Because friendships are relationships.
Absolutely.
You have to work at friendships.
And, you know, we have all had those friends where we just click and we can complete each other's sandwiches. And really just kind of, really work together. And that's really what the card is about. So I just love that we were just talking about trust and delegation and long-term relationships, and that pops out. So
of course.
Yes. And I do have oracle cards on me as well because of the kind of person I am. So, and again, this oracle deck is a goddess oracle deck. So there are multicultural goddesses. And I usually pull an oracle card at the end of a reading just to kind of recap. Generally recaps the energies, the messages. If the reading's been a little bit rough, it will.
Yep.
Yes. It'll be something positive to send the person away with. So this one is, I get Arakura, and that's blossoming. You are just getting started. Have patience with yourself and do not give up. So the figure in this is a beautiful white flower with a beautiful figure with a woman in a white gown, kind of spreading her arms and just really allowing the universe to really allow her to take up her space, which I think is important for women everywhere to do.
Yeah.
Take up your space.
Yep.
So that's just a couple different, couple cards of the different methods.
Nice.
Yes. Cool.
Very cool. Kind of hit all the things. Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss that maybe we hadn't talked about yet or mentioned?
Gosh. I think I'm good. I think we kind of hit everything.
I love that the cards totally were relating to everything we're talking about because that's what happens.
That's what happens. Yes, that's what happens. I think pretty much hit on everything. I think readings and working at the shop and running the shop have really helped me kind of foster a sense of community and really allowing, again, myself that vulnerability and getting to know people, allowing people to get to know me. Mm-hmm. That hasn't always been the easiest for people. But I think it really has allowed me and allowed us to create a space, a safer space for people to come in, really be themselves.
And ask questions, right?
And ask questions.
Come in, ask questions, even
Yes.
if you're not sure.
So yeah, the other night, I think it was Friday, a woman had called and wanted to pick out a deck, and I'm like, okay, come on in. She called back, and you could tell she was really like nervous and wasn't sure, and she's like, well, I don't know if I'll have time, and I'm like, I'm gonna be here for another half hour getting an inventory anyway. So this woman came in about 5 to 9, and she looked around, and she didn't end up buying anything. She's like, I drove down from, north of Buffalo. She's like, I drove down and just had to come in and just check it out. So we just had a conversation for about 20 minutes. And that's the kind of thing that's as important to me as anything.
Yeah.
And with the community events that we do have, it is about fostering that kinship, that friendship, camaraderie, because safe space, absolutely. And we are a safer space for anybody that doesn't necessarily feel safe anywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's not just, that shop, where we have the supplies and we do the classes. It's also a space to hang out.
Yeah.
So people have come in and met friends, and, for a while this group was meeting on Fridays and just coming in and chatting and hanging out. And that's I'm really passionate about that part, because community has always been important. And not every, community is as, healthy? I don't know how to say it. Like, you can be part of a community.
I feel like we were both drawn to, like, the punk community because it was such a community.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you were seeing the same people at, like, all kinds of events, and we were jamming a bunch of us into a house. But, man, rent was cheap that we could do so much because we had so many people in one house,
Oh, my gosh.
So it left us, like, that.
Where I live now is right around the corner from where we lived. And I will walk by that house sometimes, and there was one time the door was open, and I was, like, trying to look in the basement, and my partner is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just trying to look in the basement. And I was walking, I kind of walk over, he's like, do not just walk into their basement. And I said, but I want to see. He's like, please do not do that. Don't just walk into a stranger's basement. Why do I have to say this? You listen to murder podcasts all the time.
But the door was open.
I'm like, but the door was open. So how did I not know that there was open? Yeah. But yes, especially that like basement scene that was around here at that time. It was, and I think it was somewhat duplicated with like the funeral home that was around at that time. It's hard to get that I'm going on a tangent and a rabbit hole here. Okay. It's hard to get that in like that more commercial venue. It's almost harder to get that. Yeah. I think Mohawk Place is probably the closest.
Yeah, definitely.
That, that's still in existence. But so kind of recreating that place for people that don't feel like they have a place. And I think that's always been my passion, and I've always been a part of something like that, no matter, what kind of alternative, quote unquote, under the radar community it is.
Which is nice, because it's always nice to have like that community, and have like somewhere where you can go to like discuss stuff and just chill.
Yes.
Just hang out. And what's the address? Location?
225 Highland Parkway, Tonawanda, New York, 14223. It is basically right by Kenmore, North Buffalo.
Right down from one of the high schools in Kenmore.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So it's a really convenient location, plenty of parking.
That's huge.
I've learned
there's so many places where parking is rough. I was actually, if you didn't mention, I was gonna mention the parking was good there.
Awesome. Yes, parking is great.
Even though I stopped in, it was a few years ago. I think it was like right before COVID, maybe.
Okay. So there was a little bit different focus at that time. There's been a lot of shift in the shop since then, but
Definitely gonna have to stop in,
Yes.
check it out.
yes, definitely do.
Cool. All right. So what is your favorite thing of the week?
Thing of the week.
It could be anything. It could be a
Okay.
book, movie, conversation, experience.
I'm gonna say had lasagna on Sunday. My partner's mom made a bunch of lasagnas for family dinner, so I got leftovers, and watching X-Files. Those are my favorite things of the week. So
Nice.
I might be Garfield. No.
My favorite thing of the week is my 2-year-old niece fell asleep on me this week.
That's
And it
precious.
was like the cutest thing ever, and I was just like frozen, and I was like, oh, she's like hugging me and sleeping, and she's a little shy. She likes to like stare off and glare at people. Like she's got the glare down real good.
Good.
She's not quite 2 yet. She'll be 2 at the end of July, but she's got that glare down, and she just fell asleep, and I was just like, I don't want to leave.
That's adorable.
My brother had stopped over to shoot with my nephew in the backyard.
Okay,
They set up like a range and stuff, so they always go back there. And my brother likes to get all hyped up before deer season and practice.
Oh yeah.
So he's got a little like tree fort and everything in our backyard too. He sets up in and takes the kids up in.
Love it.
It's great. Okay, so thank you for listening, and don't forget to check out radpantheon.com, a super team of pop culture crazed creative types like me and so many more. Also go to Western New York Horror Crew, I got lost for a second there. .com to check out our nerd thrift store. I should hopefully be adding stuff weekly. We just put a whole bunch of My Little Ponies up there.
Awesome.
So if anyone knows anybody that's into My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, send them to that website.
Friendship is magic.
It is. That's the best My Little Pony. It's so good. It was kind of sad to part with some of those toys. I hope they go to a good home.
I'm sure they will.
Are there any other shout outs you have to anybody?
Oh my gosh. I just want to shout out everyone at Rising Goddess. You all make what I do easier, and I hope I make what you do easier, even though I make everybody actually work a lot. Even when I'm not there, I'll send texts. Anyway, so thank you so much, Tina and Cammie and Grace. I love you all. And to all of our readers and our vendors and
Everybody. Showing everybody with more love.
Yes.
An upcoming event, which you already mentioned for us, is May 18th at Buffalo Ironworks. Mm-hmm. And that's 12 to 4, and it's hosted by Wandering Souls Collective. Mm-hmm. Shout out to them. And to quote Sasha Graham, writer, magic is what happens when the blueprint of who you are comes into the alignment with the expanding energy of the universe. Everybody enjoy your night and try to make someone smile. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.